Hey guys, welcome to Series World. Today I'm going to explain a romantic drama series called Playing with Fire from 2019. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The fifth episode opens with Martina talking with Fabrizio. She's telling him how he has changed her life. Her eyes glisten with emotion, but Fabrizio looks distracted. Meanwhile, Jorge is watching the scene unfold from a distance. His gaze is sharp, his jaw tight with restrained anger. Fabrizio notices Jorge's piercing look, and though he wants to reciprocate Martina's feelings, he pulls back. Instead, he tells her, in a hesitant voice, that this wasn't what he intended to do. Camila comes up to Martina and hugs her. Jorge comes up to them and tells Martina that they're leaving. Even though Martina doesn't want to leave, he drags her outside. After they left, Fabrizio tells Camila that he has to leave too. She playfully accuses Fabrizio of having another woman waiting for him. Fabrizio sighs and dismisses her assumption with a faint smile, saying it's not a woman, but Pancho who awaits him. Peter comes up to Camila and tells her that they're leaving too because the host of the party has already left. Meanwhile, Andrea is shown wandering around the venue, looking for Fabrizio. He goes to Pancho to ask, but Pancho doesn't know either. Pancho is dancing alone, so Andrea tells him that Mari Carmen left because her mom is sick. She then goes outside to her Jeep. That's when Fabrizio comes up from behind and hugs her. They kiss each other and get inside the Jeep. They start getting intimate inside the Jeep. The scene cuts to Jorge, who's going through their family album in the house. Back to Andrea. She has set her camera on top of the Jeep and is dancing with Fabrizio. The scene changes to Andrea coming back to home. Martina is sleeping on the couch. She sits beside her and tells her that she needs to tell her the amazing things that happened to her tonight. But Martina is very sick. Even though she took a lot of pills, her migraine is still getting worse. The scene cuts to Camila greeting Peter in the morning. She sits beside him and tells him that she has a surprise for her. Peter urges her to tell him now what it is, but she insists that it's a surprise. He then jumps on top of her and starts kissing her. The scene cuts to Andrea setting up the camera and hiding it in front of Fabrizio's house. Meanwhile, Martina is leaving to go to the town. Jorge suggests that she take the driver with her, but she wants to go alone. But Martina can't find her car keys and asks Jorge whether she can borrow his car. Jorge tells her that it's better if she lets Gildardo give her a ride. But Martina wants to go alone, so she goes inside the house to look for her key. While she's in the house, Jorge puts her car keys from his pocket on the table. He calls for Martina and tells her that she left her car keys on the table and forgot. After Martina leaves, Jorge tells Gildardo to be her shadow and follow her every move. The scene cuts to Camila and Peter in the warehouse. She starts undressing in front of Peter and tells him it's the surprise that she wanted to give him. They then start making love. The scene cuts to Martina driving to Fabrizio's house while Gildardo is following her. Meanwhile, Jorge is going through Martina's things to find any clues. Back to Martina, she's waiting in front of Fabrizio's house, but he's with Andrea beside the river. Andrea is telling him how her mom is acting weird. He tells her to not tell Martina about them now. Fabrizio tells her that they came from a different world. He then gets flashbacks of his time living in a brothel with his mother. Fabrizio gets up and asks Andrea whether she wants to know the truth. Andrea tells him that she does. Fabrizio tells her that his mom was a prostitute, but that doesn't bother Andrea. She tells him that maybe that's how she was able to raise him. She has no right to judge his mom. Fabrizio gets emotional hearing this and they kiss. The scene cuts to Gildardo, who's taking a photo of Martina sitting in front of Fabrizio's house. Back to Andrea and Fabrizio. Fabrizio tells her that he can't be happy living here with her. Andrea suggests they go far away from this place, but she will be the one to choose where they'll go. The scene changes to Camila and Peter in the warehouse. They've done the deed. Impressed, Peter asks Camila where she learned all this. Camila replies that she did some research. Peter holds her cheeks and asks her whether he can trust her. Camila assures him, and they kiss. The scene changes to Fabrizio coming back to his house. He sees Martina and asks why she is there. Martina explains that she can't stop thinking about him. Martina holds his hand and kisses him. But Fabrizio tells her that things have changed, and what happened between them was a mistake. But Martina forcing herself on him and starts hugging him. She also tries to kiss him. Fabrizio pushes her away from him. Meanwhile, Gildardo is recording all of this. Fabrizio finally manages to push her off of him. Martina slaps him on the face and starts crying. She gets in her car and leaves. Martina drives up to a slope and stops her car. Gildardo also stops behind. He follows Martina to the slope. She's standing on top of it and starts screaming. Gildardo mumbles that she should take the step quickly. He gets a call from Jorge and cuts the call. After that, He looks in front, but Martina has vanished in that short time. Meanwhile, Fabrizio is in the house all frustrated. Poncho comes to his house and Fabrizio tells him what happened. The scene cuts to Martina coming back to the house. Jorge tries to talk to her, but she locks herself inside the bathroom. She tells him that she's okay. She just needs to take a shower. She takes pills, turns on the shower, and starts crying. Jorge hears her and goes to take a call. Meanwhile, Fabrizio and Poncho are in the club. Fabrizio explains to Poncho how heartbroken Martina was, even though they just share one kiss and nothing more. But Poncho explains that it was only one kiss to him, but not for her. Poncho just wishes that Andrea or Jorge doesn't find out about this. But Fabrizio is sure that Martina won't tell Jorge about this. But Poncho is not so sure, as a heartbroken woman can do anything. In the morning, Gildardo goes to meet with Jorge in his office. He shows him some pictures where Fabrizio and Martina are hugging. He explains that they were passionate with each other, especially Fabrizio. Gildardo adds that Fabrizio has also kissed Martina. Jorge asks Gildardo whether he thinks that Martina started the affair. Gildardo lies and tells him that Fabrizio was the one who took the initiative. Gildardo keeps going on about their affair, and Jorge screams at him to stop. The scene cuts to Andrea and Mari Carmen, who have gone to retrieve Andrea's camera. In her camera footage, they see a car that's not Fabrizio's, but they can only see the first half of the car. The scene changes to nighttime. Gildardo has come back to the house. Jorge was waiting for him and he goes down to talk. Jorge tells Gildardo that he needs his help to do something about Fabrizio. Gildardo tells him that the police are not the way they used to be, but Jorge is adamant in his decision to do something drastic. Meanwhile, Fabrizio has returned home. He notices someone inside his house. So Fabrizio grabs a piece of wood for protection and carefully enters the house. Inside, Andrea surprises him. Fabrizio scolds her for doing this, but she calms him down by hugging him. Back to Jorge. He has grabbed his gun and is pointing it at Martina. He imagines shooting Martina, but comes back to reality. The scene goes back to Andrea and Fabrizio. Andrea blindfolds Fabrizio's eyes for a surprise. She sets up the projector to show Fabrizio what she recorded the whole day in front of his house. The screen shows how it goes from nighttime to morning. Fabrizio then pulls her towards him and asks whether she really meant what she said earlier that day. Andrea assures him that she's sure about going with him. Fabrizio also tells her that he has never felt something like this before. In the morning, Gildardo is seen meeting with Eliseo. He tells Eliseo that he needs to kill Fabrizio for his boss, Jorge. Eliseo agrees to do the job. Gildardo calls Jorge using Eliseo's phone and informs him about Eliseo's agreement. The episode ends with Jorge telling him that Fabrizio has to die. To watch more explanations of these kinds of series, click on the videos on your screen, and don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. And at last, thanks for watching.